Welcome to Real Careers Real Talk, a partnership between the Kalamazoo Public Schools and Kalamazoo RESA. I'm Lori Batesy. I'm a career coach for Kalamazoo RESA, and I work specifically with Kalamazoo Public Schools. Our goal for the Real Careers Real Talk series is to showcase a wide variety of career opportunities in our area, including careers that may be new to you and your family, and help you think about your own unique skills and talents and interests as you begin to consider your future. Listen with your future in mind today, and maybe someday we'll be interviewing you for this series. We're so excited to have Javon Myles, a banquet setup supervisor, for our conversation today. Javon, will you please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your job?
Hi, hi, Lori. I just want to thank you for even interviewing me and having me on here. My name is Javon Myles. I work at the Radisson Plaza Hotel in downtown Kalamazoo, Michigan. Like you said, I'm a banquet setup supervisor. I coach football at Kalamazoo Central. I play football in Kalamazoo also for a semi-pro team, the Kalamazoo Titans. So I love sports. I love hospitality. I love people. So, which is why I work at the Radisson, a great place for me to be. So, that's a little bit about me.
What? You're a semi-pro football player?
Yes.
So that's new information. Can you give us just a little bit more information about that? I didn't even know that team existed. This is very cool.
So the Kalamazoo Titans, we started about 4 years ago. We play teams all around the area. So we play teams in Detroit. There's a team in Battle Creek, Grand Rapids. We actually have won two national championships and 3 league titles. We going on our 4th year this year. Our 5th year. This should be our 5th year this year. Just trying to get back to Florida. We usually play in Florida every January in our national championship game. We got a lot of KPS students that actually play on the team, that former KPS students that used to go to KPS schools. Just a lot of love out there, a lot of things that we just let it do. You got ages 18 all the way up to 45 out there playing football. So, and it's contact football, full contact, very competitive, So that's just something we have in Kalamazoo that a lot of people don't know about.
And is it for fun or?
Yeah, for fun. We don't get paid. Actually, we pay to play. You get your uniforms and whatnot, but there's always opportunities. So we have film. You can always get an opportunity to play arena football, possibly get a chance to try out for Canadian teams, NFL teams. It's all up to what you want to do for your future. So just another outlet, for people to get there. I like it for fun. I do it for fun, just so I got a 7-year-old son. He can see me play, so that's why I play. So you just got to hear war stories,
Well, what a cool part of your background for sharing. Now, you mentioned KPS connection. Can you tell us a little bit more about your KPS connection and how it may have gotten you to your career path?
Yeah, actually, I wasn't born in Kalamazoo. I was born in Saginaw, Michigan, but I went to KPS schools all my life. So, I started at Indian Prairie, went there 1st through 3rd, went to MLK, 4th through 6th grade. Then I went to Hillside Middle School for 7th and 8th grade, and then I graduated from Kalamazoo Central in 2009. With going to KPS, I was when I was in middle school. Actually, it started in elementary. There was programs in elementary where I started to get focused on business, starting to get focused on how to properly shake a hand, how to properly communicate, how to properly use who I am to advance myself in a career path. Actually, Jim Hess, he works for Jackway Realtors. He started a program called Breakfast of Champions that I was in when I went to MLK. We would have influential business people come in and speak to us. They would teach us how to shake hands. They would teach us that eye contact was important. Just a lot of things that young men needed to learn, at an early age so that they could progress when they get older. when I ended up getting to middle school, I was in I always loved schools, so love grades. I had good grades. Definitely I was a 4.0 student all the way up to Central. I didn't graduate with a 4.0, but I definitely was a 4.0 student. When I got to Hillside, there was a lot of people there a lot of teachers, principals, counselors, coaches that helped me and mentored me and gave me a lot of words of wisdom. I was in a program there called KCP, which is the King Chavez Parks program. I don't know if it's still around now, but it was for minorities, for minority students who don't get a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of influential people or get the business skills they need to progress. So they taught us how to write resumes, taught us how to interviewing skills. We learned so many things that also preached a lot about diversity, learn to be able to communicate and be around people that's not like you, but be able to be comfortable in who you are around other people. So those programs definitely helped shape me as a person. And like I said, I graduated from Kalamazoo Central in 2009. So that's that.
And did you take an EFE class?
I did take an EFE class. I took the hospitality EFE class. I'm also in the hospitality industry. It was a great program. Mrs. Mallows and Mrs. Green were my teachers.
Now, why did you choose hospitality as early as high school? How did you know even then that might be a field you were interested in?
So I always want to own my own business. So that's really how it started. I always wanted to own my own business. So when it came down to it, the business I want to own, I thought I wanted to be a chef. That's really how it started. I thought I wanted to be a chef. I actually don't like prepping. I don't like dicing onions. I don't like cutting up all the vegetables, and I don't like the prep work. For a big event. But I love people. So with me loving people, I just knew that hospitality was a great place where you always are in contact with people. Um, so when I had the chance to do the hospitality EFE, it was just right on point. We learned things in the restaurants. We learned things in the hotel. I actually had a mentor at the Radisson that still works there today that I actually got to job shadow and go around with. He taught me everything that like when it came to going to Wing Stadium, learning sports. I like sports, so he taught me the sports aspect going over there. Taught me the accounting aspect, numbers, and also the fact about like sales, just meeting people and building relationships so that you can help them in the long run or when they want to come to the Radisson or come to a place where they want to have an event. So that's how I knew I wanted to be in hospitality.
Javon, you're doing such a great job already talking to our kids about all of the different soft skills that you've learned along the way. I've already heard you talk about communication. You talked a little bit about ways that your mentor and other programs that you've been in have prepared you for anything that you want to do in your life. So we're definitely going to circle back to those, but I wanted to thank you right now for just bringing to the attention that all throughout your education, you can pick up skills that can help you with any career that you choose. So I appreciate that about the stories that you've shared so far.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Tell us a little bit about, though, now what it's like to be in your job. Tell us a little bit about your day on the job, and then like the coolest parts of your job, stuff that you don't really like about your job.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with my day, how it starts. Depending on the shift I come in, usually I'm a morning guy. I let it get up early in the morning, come in at 5, 6 o'clock. Those shifts, that's my favorite shift. Um, so I would come in and basically I map out the whole day for myself and all the people that I supervise. So I map out what rooms we're gonna set, what rooms we need to break down, if we have to refresh rooms because we have groups. And so refreshing is just going in, cleaning the room, and make sure it looks straight and tidy after they come back from a lunch or a breakfast or something, so that it looked like it's brand new, like they had never been in there. So that's something that we do. Also, so like my favorite part of the job is also, like I said, I love people. So being able to communicate with clients, talking to clients. When you set a room, it's like you get clients. Sometimes they can spend anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, $20,000. So like my whole aspect of me doing my job, what I love about it is that when a guest or a client could come into that room and they see everything that they pictured that they want. So when you can satisfy a guest like that, that's the best part of my job. That's just what I love. Like just seeing the clear, just love, the joy, the satisfaction that they didn't have to come in and get anything changed. The worst part of my job.
I like that comes from your ability to communicate, right? Like you wouldn't necessarily know exactly what your customer wanted unless you were a good communicator with them, right?
Yes. So yeah. And it's a lot of process that goes into like being in the setup. Like we have sales managers, they talk to the clients. Clients come in on setup day. So once we set the room, we get a client that comes in and they might want a few changes. They might want a table placed somewhere else, or they might want sometimes the whole room changed. Like you never know. Like it's just some things they come in, they thought that's what they wanted and they didn't want it. So it's like, it's always changing. It's always something that could happen. You never know. You know what I'm saying? So that's also just something I love about my job. It's not, I don't necessarily do exactly the same thing every day. So that's something I love. What I don't love about my job, it might be let's say we do a lot of carrying. So if you ever been to the Radisson, it's a big place. It's about 2-3 blocks of a building. Like, so when sometimes I got to carry tables, chairs from one end of the hotel all the way to the other, or I might have to get them upstairs using elevators or anything. Other than that, I love my job. I love helping people. I love setting the rooms. I love not necessarily being the first person they talk to, but I might be the second person they talk to that actually can get the job done for them. So that's just something. It's just wonderful being able to talk to people.
All that lifting though, that's good workout for football.
Yeah, I use it as an extra workout throughout the day. So sometimes I might have long hours, so that might be a workout for the day. Instead of carrying one table at a time, I carry two. Whatever you can do to make it fun, fast, whatever.
So something I heard you mention is that a customer might come in and want last minute changes. What that made me think of is there's oftentimes in careers where you have to be able to problem solve. Can you talk a little bit about how problem solving applies to your job and ways that you may have had to think on your feet pretty fast or critically think about ways to solve a problem?
Actually, yes. So we had a group come in and they wanted the room set a certain way. So sometimes we had groups that'd be in there. They could be in there a week long. They could be in there 2-3 days. So this specific group was in there for a week, but they had entertainment later on in the day. So sometimes they needed their room set a different way. So in our field, we kind of we charge reset fees. Sometimes we have to reset the whole room. So to make it cost efficient for them, I thought on my feet. I said, well, if we set the room this way, you only would have to reset the room one time for you to get what you wanted. So like problem solving like that. Sometimes I also bartend in the banquet department. And the client may come and want a certain drink, a certain cocktail that maybe I might not have one ingredient, but I have something I can substitute for that ingredient. So I had to think quick on my feet to be able to substitute that ingredient just to satisfy the customer. I'm also a person that always believe that the client should get what they want, as long as it's sufficient for us to make it happen. So, I try to do that any way possible, any way I can.
So I'm gonna step up the question notch, right? So that was a little bit of a soft question. I'm gonna get a little bit tougher on you.
Okay.
What do you do if there's somebody that you're not getting along with? How do you deal with conflict in your job?
Well, so I play sports, so I deal with conflict all the time. Also with dealing with conflict, I've always been like a captain or in a leader position. So being able to communicate properly, being able to listen first and respond to the way that to their aggression. So I don't listen to respond. I should say. So a lot of people will listen, but they already got their argument ready. No, I'm listening to understand. I want to understand the problem so that way I can fix the problem. So anyway, anytime that it may be a hard customer, like we had a client that wanted Parmesan cheese. No, we had Parmesan cheese on the salads, but we didn't per se have Parmesan cheese right there where we were supposed to, from the kitchen. Sometimes our events are far away from the kitchen, and also they don't give us extra things. So to supplement, sometimes you have to be stern with a guest and let them know that this is something we can't do, But if there is a possible way for me to make it happen, I'll make it happen, But
Javon, what kind of world could we make if everyone followed your advice? Listen to understand. I hope everybody that's watching today just caught that. Listen to understand before you listen to respond. I love that.
yeah, that's also something I learned from one of my mentors. So it's like, I had a lot of people teach me these things. Patience is a thing that you can't give somebody patience as patience is learned. So with being a leader, also having 4 younger siblings, I learned a lot of patience. So
Oh man, I bet. So you've shared with us a little bit already about how you came to know you wanted a job in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
What education and training did you get for your job?
I went to Eastern Michigan University and I studied hospitality, restaurant and hospitality management. Had a minor in business administration. I also, when I came back home, I learned accounting. So I didn't take the bookkeeper test, but I learned accounting. Just another factor of business, another aspect of it. If I did want to own my own business, I also want to learn how to do my own numbers. So that way, if somebody, can't nobody steal no money from me if I also know how to, do the numbers just like them. I had a ServSafe certification. So I actually worked at McDonald's before I worked here. I worked at the Radisson. I was a manager at McDonald's. So to be a manager in restaurants, you have to have ServSafe certification, which it just teaches you the proper temperatures of meat, the proper storage of food, and everything based on food, so that you can have safety in food, so you're not getting nobody sick, people not getting salmonella and things like that. And that's pretty much it. And like continuing education, my job gave me on the job training. So that in the hospitality, it's a lot of on the job learning. The industry is always changing. There's always things they need to teach us. So our HR department does a great job of giving us trainings. So that's about it.
Always learning. I like that concept too, right? You
Yep.
never stop learning. Another thing I heard you just say, I'm really thankful that you brought it up, is that you have a lot of responsibility. You're handling food. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about how responsibility and dependability are a part of your job?
Yep. So in the hospitality industry, yes, we have managers, we have supervisors, we have people that, you know, give us things to do. But in the hospitality industry, there's a lot of self-motivated work. So there's a lot of things where you have to be responsible for the things you have to get done. So when we put the food out, like sometimes we have buffets, there's a certain time we light chafers, which is the little fire cans underneath the to keep the food hot. We we have to have the room set at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, even though I could be working this one event, we could have 5 different events going on. And my event may not be priority for the managers to be at because it's not as big. Or a CSM may not be in the room with us to help us get the room done. So being responsible is like very big on the list. Like in our interview questions is a lot of interview questions come with how do you motivate yourself to get a job done? You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I love to get the room done perfect, have it done, not have to go in and do it twice. So um responsibility and accountability. Like I know we say responsibility, but you also got to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? You got to be accountable for yourself, for your actions. You got to be You know, if something you did forget or did do wrong, you got to be accountable. You know, apologize, get it done. So yeah.
That's very helpful. I think great advice for our students. Switching gears a little bit. You know, when we do an interview like this, we get to hear all the awesome things about Javon, right? Like
Yep.
all the
Yep.
great things you're doing. Our students, and I think people in general, need to have a growth mindset.
Yep.
And sometimes things don't go well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have failures in our life, right?
Yep.
Are you willing to talk with us a little bit today about that? Maybe be a little vulnerable and share some times where things didn't go the way you planned and how you were able to move forward.
Yep. I definitely have a story for that. So, like I said, I graduated from Kalamazoo Central in 2009. I was a 3-sport athlete. I played football, ran track, played basketball. I actually went to Eastern to play football. So when I got there, I was actually a walk-on. So there were schools that offered me scholarships. I didn't take the scholarship. I walked on to the Division I school, which is a lot tougher, a lot it's more business. It's more business than it is what I should say, like than what you would think it was in high school. So, you know, sometimes these college coaches, they get you for a year or they get you for 4. You know, no telling. Like, so they run it like, hey, we know we love you, we want to see you make it, but it may be the next person. So I end up not playing football at Eastern Michigan. I tried to walk on. I realized there was something that I just didn't want to do. You know, getting up at 4 a.m. and not being done till midnight. And when I say not being done till midnight, that's homework and all. So going to practices, workouts, making sure I eat, going to study sessions. That was just something that didn't work out. So I came back home and I went to, that's where I learned accounting. I learned accounting. And I just learned accounting because I needed to do something. I needed to figure something else out to do. When I graduated, like I said, when I graduated high school and went to Eastern, my parents also were going through a divorce. So my parents were married for 14 years. And then at that time, like I said, I was the oldest. I was the first one to leave college. But a lot of stuff at home was going on at the same time I was gone. So I had to deal with a lot, like helping my sisters, deal with my parents separating, helping my sisters stay focused on school and everything. So what I learned, and so what I thought was to come back home to help everybody out, actually set me back a little bit. So when that came to set me back, dealing with that divorce, dealing with not being able to play football, probably went through a little depression. Didn't like sports for a little while. Didn't play sports. Didn't watch it. Didn't none of that. You know, to where I just I had to refocus. I had to refocus. I had to retrain myself. I had to look at things that make me happy, things that are joyous, things that give me a sense of pride, so that I can advance and get back to what normal life is for me. Like I said, like going through that depression, you stop talking to people, you stop communicating, you stop having, you know. So during those times, I didn't have, when I came back to working at the Radisson, my communication skills were not as good as they, you know, how I'm talking now, how I'm confident in myself. I wasn't like this 5, 6 years ago. So it's like, I prayed a lot. I also have a good faith in God. I'm definitely a Christian, God fearing man. So prayer, focus, setting goals, and not just big goals, small goals to reach the big goal, and celebrating those accomplishments. So my goal was to get hired at the Radisson. When I came back home, it actually took me like 6 months to get hired. Um, in those 6 months, it was difficult. I was like, hey, I worked there before. Why would it take so long for them to, you know, hire me back? And that was actually one of the first steps in my process of regaining who I was. And at that same time, I started playing semi-pro football again. Um, which is something like I love football. So to leave it, that was a part of my life that I just had to get back. So now playing it, I got me into coaching. I ended up coaching Rocket Football. I coached Northside Football. So everything that I learned and went through, so I can pour it back into the kids. I don't want to see no kid go through the pains, the struggles, and everything I went to if I can give them the motivation to be better. The motivation, the encouragement that everybody has something they go through. Mine was me. I'm a big family man. My parents going through a divorce, cousins, family moving away, me not being around family, that was a big toll on me. So it's like, what can I do to bring family back together? Sometimes sometimes you are the light that you need to be to get everybody back together, to get yourself back on the right track. So, like I said, that's why working in the hospitality industry, I get to talk to people. People pour life into you. You pour life into other people. It's joyful. It's just something that I get joy from. So yeah.
That's very inspirational. I have goosebumps. I liked what you said about goal setting. I liked
Mm-hmm.
how you knew your interests, including football, and were able to go back to that, but not just for you, but how you served others, and how you continue to serve others through coaching football, and how you also were looking out for your little sister. I heard that part too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you have some people in your life that you consider your dream team? This is a phrase that we have adopted in this series now, as the people that you can reach out to help fill your cup when you need it.
Yep. So I have a few people. First off, my father, my dad, Rudy Myles. He is also the head coach of my semi-pro team. So he's a big, like I said, even though my mom and dad went through that divorce thing, I still love my parents. Like, there's nothing that I can take away from them. They taught me I'm the person I am today because of them. So my dad was a big factor in that. He was my coach my whole life. He coached me in basketball, coached me in football at Kalamazoo Central. So he's definitely somebody I can call, talk to anytime. Like, he answer the phone for me any time of the day, any time of the night. And he's also somebody that knows me. So when it comes to me getting advice, he doesn't give me the advice I want. He gives me advice I need. So, it's not something that sometimes I don't like it, but that's what tough love, he shows it to me, he gives it to me, he makes sure, I'm on the right track. My grandmother, Elizabeth Myles, she is the reason the reason I have the faith I have in God. Like, and when I was in elementary, going all the way up till now, Mr. Tim Tarrantine, he was my mentor. He was actually my first mentor, the first person I ever got to talk to that taught me. He was young. I think he was like 23, 24. He was still in college when he first came to help me out in elementary. And still to this day, I see him at the Radisson. I talk to him, communicate with him. Just to see somebody that looks like me accomplish so many goals, accomplish so many things, and be just a pillar in our community. So that's somebody else I can talk to. And Mr. Von Washington. He was also, he has written letters of recommendation for me. He knows my bosses at work. They have conversations about me all the time. Like, man, I love that guy to death. I could talk to him anytime I want to, call him, email him, whatever. He always has a listening ear for me. So that'd be my team.
That sounds like a great team. You've already shared so much of this with us, but as we wrap up our interview today, Javon, there's a couple things we want to think about with the future.
Okay.
We want all our young people in our community to be future ready, ready for whatever challenges that come their way, and ready for the world of work. What advice would you give our students today to help them prepare for their future?
So I'm a podcast person. I watch podcasts. Eric Thomas is one of my favorite people to listen to. And he always like, and one of the things he said to me that stuck with me is, you got to find your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want to keep pushing to do what you want to do? What is the reason you're doing it? If you don't have a reason, you will never get the outcome you want. There will always be obstacles. There will always be things hoops you got to jump through, things you got to go over. So, what's forward motto? Get forward tough. I tell my son all the time, you got to be forward tough. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to go through the mud. You got to be able to go through whatever storm you have to get to the other side, which is the brightness. You know what I'm saying? So just believe in yourself. Confidence is something that's that's very big. If you have confidence in yourself, you can believe you can do anything, you will accomplish these goals. That's big on it. Also, just like I said, I love people, so I just love to spread love in the world. You know, I love to see people smile. So let's spread a lot more love and not hate in the world. And that's the last thing I got for you.
Find your why, be forward tough, and spread the love. Javon, great parting words. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And everything that you've been able to share with our students, I think, is going to be really meaningful to them as they continue to pursue their career pathway. Thank you.
Thank you.